Oh my goodness, okay. Good morning, guys. How are you today? This video is going to be about kind of the first thing I did post quitting my job. As you probably saw in my last video, if you're here watching, I recently quit my 9-to-5 job. I will link that video up above about why I did that. I think the thing I struggled with most after quitting was kind of how to recalibrate afterwards. So I was severely burnt out from my 9-to-5, long story short. After I quit, it was very much like, okay, I need to recover, I need to rest, I need to, figure out what in the world's going on. By the way, this microphone isn't even for this video, so I'm going to move it. I thought it would be fun to make a video talking through the first thing I did, which is fix my sleep schedule. I shouldn't say fix my sleep schedule, more the concept was to improve my quality of sleep. So while I worked my 9-to-5, a little bit of background, I had a lot of issues sleeping. I was extremely anxious and stressed all the time about my job, that I had a really hard time falling asleep and I had a really hard time waking up on time. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that to get myself to easily fall asleep at night, I would frequently take sleeping pills at night, honestly almost every night, and I'm still currently using them almost every night, and that is something I really want to get off of, because when I wake up in the morning from those, I have a really difficult time actually waking up and I don't get as quality of sleep. So let's basically jump right into it. I figured a fun way to do this video would be to just give a brief overview of the different things that I am going to work on to improve my quality of sleep, and then kind of do a little bit of an update vlog throughout the next week, letting you guys know how it's going, what I'm struggling with, etc. And you can kind of just follow along on my journey trying to overcome burnout and refresh my entire sleep habits after quitting my 9-to-5. So the first thing I want to address is what I did the past few weeks. So right after I quit my job, I had a trip planned to go visit some family down in Florida. We went to the Keys for a week. That was definitely much needed, and honestly that's something I highly suggest if you're planning on quitting your job soon and you have been really stressed out from it, is to plan something exciting to do like the week after you quit. Like, give yourself a few days to like recover first which I had like 4 days between my last day of work and leaving for our trip, but I think that trip really jump started just like the excitement, instead of feeling overwhelmed immediately after quitting your job and just being like, oh my gosh, what in the world am I doing? After I got back, one thing I really wanted to do was to just allow myself to sleep as much as I needed to sleep. So that's the first thing I worked on after my trip, and that's been kind of 2 weeks now that I've pretty much let myself sleep as much as I want. So I frequently was sleeping 10 to 11 hours. Sometimes I even slept 13 or 14 hours. I actually got sick in the past 2 weeks, had a cold for a few days, and I think my body's just trying to regulate everything that it's feeling and everything that it went through. So since all of that has ended, I'm really excited and looking forward to kind of getting back onto a normal routine. I really thrive on routine, but that was the thing I was most excited for, was okay, let's get back onto a routine, let's figure out this sleep habit issue, because for me, sleep is probably like the number one thing that affects the rest of my mood, my emotions, my literally everything. Like, sleep is my number one thing that I struggle with. This past year I really worked on my physical environment with sleep, so this video is not going to at all be focused on the physical environment. It's really more the mindset and the like physical inside of me things that I need to work on. So I'm looking at my computer here at the things I am working through, but here are my main steps. After you've already kind of regulated in terms of your exhaustion by like allowing yourself to sleep in as much as you need to for a few days, honestly I think this is where my sleep schedule got super messed up, because I let myself sleep one day until like 4 p.m. and of course then I couldn't fall asleep at night and I was up super late, hence the messed up sleep schedule. Before we jump into the 8 steps that I have for you, I just want to say that if you are new around here, my name's Paige and I recently quit my 9-to-5 job working in corporate engineering consulting. If you're interested in seeing kind of what my life looks like post quitting my 9-to-5 job and what I'm going to be doing next, make sure to subscribe below and let me know in the comments that you're new here. I love talking to you guys in the comments, and also don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm kind of working on connecting with you guys there, because I think it's a much more like personal one-on-one connection on Instagram. So make sure to send me a DM. I like talking to you guys and I hope to see you there. But without further ado, let's get right into the 8 steps. Step 1 after all of that is to just wake up a bit earlier and earlier each day, which sounds extremely obvious, but I think that this is a really important piece. don't just set an alarm for, you know, say you want to be waking up at 6 a.m. Don't set an alarm for 6 a.m. and just think that you're going to like automatically flip your schedule to 6 a.m. because it's just not going to work. I promise you that. You're either not going to wake up at 6 a.m. or you're going to wake up and feel like death all day, and then you're going to be in a sleep deficit for like 2 weeks. So you don't want to cause like a 5-hour sleep deficit by like only sleeping like 3 or 4 hours the first night that you're trying to fix your schedule. So the key here is to wake up a bit earlier and earlier each day. And a quick hack, if you have a hard time kind of like waking up earlier in the morning, is to either A, set a scheduled appointment on your calendar, whether it's like a call with a friend, or if you have like any appointments coming up, whether it's, I don't even know, doctor's appointment, therapy appointment, any type of meeting or call you have, interviews, anything like that. Set them for early in the morning, kind of around the times that you're trying to like adjust your schedule each day to, and then that will be a great motivator to like force you to wake up in the morning because you have somewhere to be and someone's expecting you. And if you don't have the ability to do that, which, you know, I'm doing that, but not every single day, then a second piece that you could use is, I like to use the Alarmy app if you're not familiar. I'll put a link to the app in my description, but I've used this app for quite a few years at this point. But what I like to use is the picture function. So you can set it that the only way to turn off your alarm is to take a picture of something in your house or apartment. So for me, you basically set an initial photo, like I like to do the bathroom sink, and then I have to, in the morning when the alarm goes off, I have to go into the bathroom and match up the picture that I'm taking with the old picture of the bathroom sink, like the angle of it and what's in the photo. And if those match, then it turns off your alarm. So usually it takes like 3 or 4 photos to get the photos to actually match up. So by the time I've done that, I'm like, all right, I'm over it. I'm going to stay awake at this point. That's a really helpful app for me to get me out of bed in the morning. Step 2, and this is something that I developed a really bad habit for during my 9-to-5 job, is no more caffeine after noon. And, you know, 1 p.m. at the latest, but really I would like to be doing noon. But basically, you know, when I was working my job, I would allow myself to drink a cup of coffee or tea or, you know, soda or anything like every few hours, because I was just so severely burnt out and stressed that I needed something to kind of keep me going every few hours of the day, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. And this is something that obviously definitely affected my sleep habits and my sleep schedule and made it really hard for me to fall asleep at night. So my plan with that is to only have my morning cup of coffee right when I wake up in the morning, and then if I have enough time, I can have a second cup of coffee or tea or whatever it might be, something caffeinated before noon or 1 p.m. So that's my overall goal that I would like to stick to. So step 3 is no more alcohol at night, and the only exception to this would be like if I'm going out to dinner for like a special occasion. Like last night was my anniversary, although I actually applied the rule still and didn't have like a glass of wine or anything with dinner. But I think this is important for me and maybe for some of you as well. But a lot of research says that drinking alcohol before bed does not help you go to sleep in any way. And even if it helps you initially fall asleep, it's not going to give you quality sleep, and the quality of your sleep is going to be severely impacted by the alcohol. So feel free to look into it yourself if you want, and if you disagree, that's totally fine. Drink your glass of wine before bed, but I am not going to be drinking any more alcohol before bed. For me, it actually makes it harder for me to fall asleep. Anytime I drink any alcohol, it's like I am like wide awake. Step number 4 is to completely take the phone away from the bedroom, and not that I'm not going to have it next to my bed because I use it as my alarm, which if you've watched any of my previous videos, I've talked about this before, that what I usually do to fall asleep and what I had been doing during my 9-to-5 job was watching Twitch. I really like playing video games and stuff, so I would like to watch people who are streaming at night, and I would watch them to help me kind of wind down and fall asleep. The issue with this is obviously like the blue light, not good for you, definitely doesn't help you to fall asleep, although it did help to relax me. But now that I am not so high strung from the stress of my job, I think it will be a lot easier for me to switch back to reading books before bed, which I used to do in the past. So my goal is to not go on my phone an hour before bedtime and only use that hour to read or do another activity that doesn't involve a screen. I know for sure that this is definitely going to help. I was doing this the last week and a half that I was in my job after I'd put my notice in, because I was a lot less stressed about my job, and I was able to kind of like read to like wind down at the end of the night, and it was super, super helpful. Step number 5 is to only use the bed for sleeping or extremely light reading. So the way my apartment's set up and me and my husband's schedules, we have very differing schedules because he works in a hospital. He'd been out of work for the past few months and took off like I think 3 or 4 months from his job, but he's actually going back to work tomorrow for his first day back, which is exciting. But because of that, I've gotten really used to using my bedroom, and back in college I always did this, and I'm sure others did as well in college. I would always use my bedroom for like everything. So I would sit on my bed to do homework, I'd sit on my bed to eat my dinner. Honestly, I don't do that here anymore, but you know, in general, I've gotten used to using my bed for multiple activities and just like a place to hang out. I want to stop doing that and only treat the bed as a place to sleep. I mean, studies show that it helps your brain to, you know, perceive this activity as, okay, it's time to wind down and relax and actually fall asleep. So my plan is, if I'm reading before bed in the hour before bed and it's like heavier reading, like I want to take notes or something, then I'm going to do it out in the living room, like sitting on the couch or at my desk or wherever I want to sit. But if I'm doing like novel reading and I'm just reading a novel, then I'm going to let myself do that in bed and I'm going to see how it goes. I might end up not even reading in bed and I only will read on the couch and then go into the room and just like turn off the lights and lay there and like try to fall asleep. I think that's going to take me a bit of time to get used to because I am not very comfortable yet with like dead silence and, you know, that whole thing. So we're going to just start with only novels and fiction reading in the bedroom. I think this is a good point to pause really quick and explain why I'm using these as steps, and it's because I do think that there is a specific order that I kind of want to follow with these, if that makes sense. And I think some of them kind of like go hand in hand. I'm going to do them like at the same time. I'm going to start those, but some of them I think I want to like get more into a routine with and not just like try to quit all of these cold turkey, because it's kind of like the concept of like trying to start eating healthy, start working out, start waking up early, start doing journaling, whatever. Like trying to incorporate like 10 healthy habits at the same time is not sustainable at all. And I think the same goes for habits such as these that have to do with my sleeping habits. Yeah, step 6 is no more sleeping pills, and I think once I get through steps 1 through 5, it'll be a lot easier for me to just stop using the sleeping pills altogether. For the time being, I'm going to use them when I feel like I need to, like if I'm literally wide awake when it's time for me to go to bed and I know I'm going to be up like super late if I don't take one, then I'm going to take one. But if there's nights where like last night I just felt super tired when it was time to go to bed, so I decided to just not take one. So that's kind of my goal with that, is to just like play it by ear. Like if I need it, I'll take it. If I don't need it and I'm ready to sleep right then I'm just not going to take it. Step 7 is to start incorporating a morning routine, and this is something I've gone through multiple times in my life. I've posted a few different morning routine videos on my channel before, but in general I definitely appreciate having a pretty like simple, straightforward morning routine, nothing like super dramatic, and definitely something that's flexible that I can change up when I need to. But I think by the time that I get to this point in the steps, it'll be a good time to start setting up specific things for me to like work through in the morning and kind of adjusting my morning routine now that I'm not working a 9-to-5 job or I'm not in college. You know, I've had different morning routines throughout the years and they've definitely adjusted as my life has adjusted. So this is just a new period in my life where I need to kind of figure out what new morning routine works best for me. Step 8, which this one is somewhat related to sleep habits, but I think it's a really important one to add here, is to set up some type of work schedule and routine for myself. Like I said before, I love routine and I thrive on routine. I don't like to have all of this open-ended stuff in my life, so I like to have like a pretty consistent schedule or something to go off of. This is something I've obviously struggled with since quitting my job. I am planning on doing a video, by the way, on like an update of what I'm doing now that I don't work my 9-to-5 job, but for now I'll just say like 2 sentences to explain what type of schedule I'm going to set up for myself. But currently I'm doing Instacart as kind of like a little gig on the side to kind of make some side income, and working like part-time doing that. I'm trying to do like 2 to 3 full days a week doing Instacart, and then on top of that I am working on my coaching business, which if you follow my Instagram I'm sure you've seen more about. So the other like 2 to 3 days of the week I'm going to be focusing on that and focusing on my YouTube channel, making content for you all. And that's kind of what I want to set up in terms of a schedule, is like, you know, which days I'm going to be working on my Instacart shopping and which days I'm going to be working on my YouTube channel or my coaching business, and kind of like setting up some type of schedule and routine for myself, because I definitely need that. I think that, you know, once the whole sleep habits are set up and my morning routine is set up, then I can start looking at setting a consistent schedule for working. I already am doing Instacart and working on my business, but it's very like sporadic back and forth. Like I don't have like a set thing that I'm working on at different times of the day, etc. You know, I've been getting things done and it's like working to an extent, but I'm definitely more productive when I have like a set routine. So that's kind of the plan with that. So that's pretty much it for the steps that I'm working through. And, you know, I really think that your sleep is a really important piece of overcoming burnout in general and overcoming long-term stress from any situation. This is something that, you know, if you heard my story and my why I quit my 9-to-5 job, when I was in high school, I had a lot going on. I was working a part-time job. At one time I was working 2 part-time jobs. I was raising one of my nephews and, you know, helping my mother in general to like raise both of our nephews. And I was in, I don't even know how many classes, but I was in like physics 2 and calc 3 in my senior year of high school, and like taking very, very difficult classes with a lot of work. And I was definitely, looking back, severely burnt out after that experience. I was so tired all the time, but I had gotten used to not sleeping. I would sleep like 4.5, 5 hours every single night. This is just not cool. Like, to put it simply, not cool at all. And I remember talking about it in college and always like talking about it from like some prideful standpoint of like, I used to only sleep 4.5, 5 hours at night and I was fine and I got everything done and I was productive. And I was, because I had to be. There was no other option for me unless I wanted to like fail out of school, you know, not make any money or be able to afford anything, or, you know, not help raise my nephews. So it was pretty much just, that's what I had to do. But looking back, when I got to college, that's when I did kind of this same process. Like my first few months in college, honestly, I slept so much more than I ever had before. I was sleeping all the time, and that's really when my sleep problems started to develop, because I had more time to sleep and I wasn't used to having so much time, and I really had to set boundaries for myself, which I did work through in college. But there's a lot of things that I never really recovered from in terms of my sleep, and I found that when I got into my 9-to-5 and I was, you know, working on YouTube on the side, and I really filled all of my time up every single day doing, you know, things around the house now that we had like our own apartment and I'm married and blah 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 blah, you know, there's 30,000 things you can do every day. And I found myself trying to like compress it all into the time I had, and then, you know, sleep this like small amount at night. And it was really hard for me to fall asleep at night because I always felt like there were so many other things I needed to do. So I really wasn't prioritizing sleep, and this is something I've just struggled with really for a lot of my adult life. Hence why now I'm really trying to focus on, you know, fixing this and working through it now. But long story short, I hope this video was helpful for you. If you want to watch the vlog portion of this video, I'm going to be doing a week in my life vlog for this next week coming up, where I'm going to be working through all of these steps, as well as just like showing you what my weekly life looks like now. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that, and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I post. But other than that, I really hope this was helpful for you. If you have any other tips about how to fix your sleep habits or have more quality level sleep, please leave them down below. I'm sure me and many others would like to see and hear about them. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.